Hi everybody. Today we're going to put the next layers on our painting. So, we started with our non-objective composition. We made a tone drawing of it. We made a color study of it. You also made a monochromatic painting of it. And then you also made a monochromatic underpainting of it. The underpainting is just showing where all the darks and lights are. You've set up your composition. So at this point, we're just gonna start adding color. And there's a lot of different ways that we can add color to our painting. So first we're gonna put a layer of paint, the color that we're gonna use, on the canvas. And then we're gonna build up from there. And we're gonna try a lot of different techniques to get paint on the canvas. So yeah, I'm excited. So the first part, we are going to think of a color scheme. And in class, we went to a website called colorhunt.com, and you could choose any kind of color palette that you want. You can also use like a traditional color scheme if you want to use like a split complementary or a triadic color scheme, but you really want to limit your palette. Even if the original composition is not limited palette colors, it's totally fine. You don't have to go by that. We're just going by you are the artist, and you are going to impose a limited palette on the canvas. Okay, so the color scheme that I chose is this one right here. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that very well. Yeah, so it's like a dark purple, a couple of shades of red, and then this like teal color. So I'm gonna use those colors, and the first step is to mix them up. So I've taken my palettes. I'm using a paper palette. I'm not sure what kind of palette you have, but you have your palette. I've put my colors around the edge. I only took the colors that I need. So I'm making like a dark reddish purple. So I'm gonna need to make it, right? So I'm gonna use these colors, right? Red and blue. I also have a teal color, so I have the phthalo blue, and I'm gonna mix in a tad of yellow and mix it with some white to make that the teal color. And then I have a couple of shades of red, which actually might be these shades, but I'm gonna also make a lot of different values of each of these because my composition has a balanced value. It should have as many light areas as dark areas as medium gray areas. Okay, so I'm gonna first mix up my palette. Guess you can join me here. I don't know how to do this, so can you see it? Oh my gosh, it's so bright. Yeah, you can see it. I'll push it up a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to use my palette knife, and I'm going to mix up these colors to get what I want. So the first one, I might even need some more paint. So the first color is this like very dark purple. So I'm going to take the alizarin crimson. I'm going to just take all of it because I'm going to use a lot of this color. Also keep in mind the most sum bits rule. Okay. All right. So I forgot that this made a really nice purple, but it's a very purpley purple. And in the color palette, I do want it to be more reddish purple. So I'm gonna add some more alizarin crimson. This phthalo blue is very potent, so a little bit goes a long way. I'm gonna add this. So I think it's a good idea to mix up your colors ahead of time. Use your palette knife, because your palette knife wastes less paint, right? It still needs to be more red. I'm gonna put all of it in there. Also, when mixing colors, it's a good idea to, I didn't just illustrate this, but it's a good idea to, whatever's more potent, you just add a little bit. Like I would never add all of this to the actual color. I'm always adding the color to my new color, right? Add that in there, maybe that'll make it a little something. Okay, I think that is a decent, this is gonna be my dark, right? Rinse it off in the water. Okay, and then clean it this way. All right, then I have this dark red, which is this color, but it's a little, actually, I think it's the alizarin crimson mixed with the cadmium. Okay, so I'm gonna try that. This looks like a great red. If I wanted it to be just a tad, this looks like it's a tad more maroon. So I could add, you can see I have just a little of this purple. I'm adding just a teeny tiny tad of the purple. And because it has that phthalo in it, it's going along, a little bit goes a long way. All right, this looks like a really solid red maroon color. And then I also need a lighter, more warm red, which I think is gonna be this cadmium. So looks like it's a little tiny bit lighter. So I'm gonna take some of this. So we're using the inside to mix some of the colors. It's actually pretty solidly this color, but I might add just a tad of white to make it a little more, it's a little bit lighter and maybe a little bit more milky. If we added yellow, it would make it more warm. It would make it warmer and more like yellow orange, but I kind of don't want it to be yellow orange. I want it to be sort of in the pinkish family. So here's 3 of my colors, and now I have to make this teal color. I'm washing my palette knife off. All right, so to make teal, I'm gonna take some of the phthalo and I'm gonna put it here. Take a little bit, oh, remember this yellow is very, what am I gonna say? It's not very strong. The phthalo is super strong and the yellow is not. Also, what do we need to add to this? We need to add a lot of white. Although I kind of like this color as it is, and because it's a value of the same color, I'm gonna keep some of it, and I'm gonna use this as some bits. I think this like very pretty dark blue green. Okay, and I'm gonna take some of this and add the whites. Okay, so isn't this a great color scheme? Okay, I have my dark reddish purple. I have this red that's like a little bit dark, and then I have this little bit lighter red, and then I have a couple of shades of this aqua color, which I really love. So I'm gonna start painting the first layer of paint on my canvas. I could use a palette knife if I wanted to, but the first layer, I actually don't want any brush strokes on the first layer. So I'm going to just paint a very like simple, even layer of the paint on the canvas. Make sure that it's in the right space there. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna use some of this darker color. So where there's darker color, I'm gonna add the darker color. Okay. If your paints start to dry out, you know, you can always mist it with some water, because this is acrylic. They usually, I don't know, I can paint with them for like 20 minutes or a half hour without them getting very dried out. So that's about how long it takes for it to dry out. Okay, and there's not any really right or wrong way to do this. Part of the reason we chose the non-objective composition is because we're just practice painting here. Who cares what it looks like? You know, I'm just now covering the spaces. If it's dark, I'm adding this dark color. This was dark in here, I'm adding this dark. Where it's, oh, here's this dark up here. This is like, it's not the underpainting, because the underpainting, I use this burnt umber color. This is gonna be, it's sort of like a base color. It's just the first layer. And with an acrylic painting, and even with an oil painting, there are many layers. This is like a little bit lighter value in here, so I'm painting this like reddish purple on because it's a little lighter. I'm just making it smooth because I don't know what I'm going to want to do on top. If I'm doing something on top that I don't want it to have any brush strokes, then, you know, it does dry kind of fast. And if there's ridges and brush strokes, they're going to show up, which sometimes you want and sometimes you don't. Okay, so, oh, I think I'm going to take this color too. We want to spread our colors around the whole canvas. So there's some dark shapes over here. This one and put this here. Doesn't matter if I'm going outside the lines because I'm gonna like paint over it, you know? Maybe I'll use this one for here. And since this is just the first layer, we're not committed to this. I might step back from it and be like, I don't want it to be, I don't want that little shape to be red. I want it to be purple, and whatever, with the next layer, I'm gonna make it purple. But maybe having the red under it will give it more life. Okay, maybe this one I'll make red. And over here, I think we'll make this also this like reddish color. So as you can imagine, I think I'm gonna take this light teal color and make that this this background color. I already like what's going on here. Like these colors together. I'm glad that I chose it from this thing. I think I'm gonna take this and add this in here. Okay, now rinse out my brush. I am using, you could use whichever brush you want. Usually when I'm trying to cover space like this, I would use a flat brush or this angle brush. See, I'm using this angle brush. So I'm gonna then just take this paint and fill in. And actually this probably would look even better if I added more whites, to be honest with you. So, yeah, I like that a lot. I painted this on a canvas panel, which is why I'm sort of holding it up, because I mean, I could put a piece of paper under it, so if I go off the edges, but So again, it doesn't matter what it looks like. I mean, it matters what it looks like because you're moving paint around the canvas, not because I'm trying to make it look like something. We're not doing that lesson today. Today we are practicing applying the paints. And as you can see, I'm getting all of the, I'm not letting any of the canvas show. We don't want the white canvas to show. Also notice this is taking me, like this whole thing, mixing the colors and applying this second layer, maybe it's taking me 15 minutes, right? This is not something that you should be like painstakingly working on. Notice that there was a glob of purple and it got into the paint there. That's a happy accident because we want that. We want there to be like depth in the colors. We want the colors to be complex. We're not using colors straight out of the tube. We don't want there to be just like solid color. All right. Okay. So up here, that's still the underpainting. I think I'm going to add, I'm gonna try it. Maybe this color would look good. I don't know. Maybe I could add some of this color here. But then maybe in here I could add a little bit of I mix in this with the, there's some paint left over in my brush from that. That's why it's making it lighter. I can make it lighter in here. It also made it more watery because I had too much water, but I could take some of the white, mix it in, make a lighter value of this color. And again, if I don't like it, who cares? I'll just go over it later. Okay. So in looking at it, it is a little unbalanced. The only place I have this light color, this light purple, is up here. So I'm gonna add a little bit down here just to pull it through. Our eye is always looking for like contrast. It's also looking for sameness. So like if I see that there's this color, it sort of pulls my eye through the whole thing. Okay. All right, so I think this is done. I'm going to wash out my brush, and I have a lot of paint left over. I took too much paint, so I'm gonna do the second part of this in just a moment in the second video. Okay, good luck.